Every moment is a learning. Deserve yourself to be in the business.
You have to get in the mud.
You should be instead looking at what other new brands you can supply.
Remember, I'm sitting here, but who's running the shop now?
So you don't have to worry.
Make sure you put your foot on the doors.
You are following the oil.
Oil had money. Then people will come.
Welcome to the 100X podcast, where we share stories of inspiring entrepreneurs and change makers. Today, we're joined by two special guests from the Jashanmal family. Mohan Jashanmal, Regional Manager and Board Member of Jashanmal National, and his son, Sohail Jashanmal. The Jashanmal Group has been a key player in the retail and distribution industry in the Gulf for over a century. With their humble beginnings from Basra, Iraq, they have expanded to over 100 stores across the region. In this episode, we'll delve into the founding of Jashanmal, their journey over the years, and the factors that contributed to their lasting success. Mohan Jashanmal and his son, Sohail Jashanmal. Welcome to the podcast.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Honestly, I am very, very excited because ever since I was a little kid, I was seeing Jashanmal stores everywhere. And you guys sell so many different products. And now sitting with the actual Jashanmal family to talk about the business, very exciting. Before I start, I would like to ask, Mohan, why do they call you the Mohan of Arabia?
I saw a film about nearly about 40 years ago. It was called Lawrence of Arabia. It was an Englishman wearing Arab clothes. So I said, my God, an Englishman wearing Arab clothes? Why I can't wear Arab clothes? So this is also nearly 30 odd years ago. I changed. You see in that photograph with me and my Sohail when he was small. In that one, I'm wearing badla, English clothes. I've always was. But 30 years ago, I saw that. I said, I should wear this. So when I started wearing this, everybody liked it. And I also liked it. Very comfortable, much more comfortable.
It's relaxing.
And then they said, why have you? I said, but I saw the film called Mohan of Arabia. Then I started wearing, and I said, now I am Mohan of Arabia. If he was Lawrence of Arabia, I'm Mohan of Arabia.
Well, Mohan of Arabia, we are happy to have you here. And I'd like to start off with the history of Jashanmal, the founding story of this big empire. How did it start?
Anything big is wrong. We don't. It's mutawada. Be humble is the best. We started very small. In Basra, Iraq. My father and his brother, 105 years ago. Why Basra? Because Basra had 3 rivers, 2 famous rivers, Euphrates and Idris. 2 famous rivers. Whole of this area had no water at all. This is 100 years ago. So that was the place was booming. Everybody used to come to Basra, Iraq. So we started our business in Iraq because it was prospering. Then 1934, this was 1919. Then after 20 years, we opened in Kuwait. Why? The oil started to come. The oil started to come in Kuwait first. Saudi and Kuwait, oil started.
We were actually known in Basra as the people who supplied the British Army with a lot of their goods. And this was not because it was something that we wanted to do. It was something that happened organically from 1919, because the entire British Army, we moved with the British Army as Indians and British citizens from India, from the empire. We moved there for new business. The British Army started needing special goods. We started supplying them with special goods. After a while, we were their favorite people to supply them with special goods. So when they moved down the Gulf because of oil and other things and went to Kuwait, the first stop after Basra, they immediately said, we need Jashanmals to come with us and supply our armed forces, because we had become very good and very well known for that kind of thing.
So we could say your first customers were the army.
Yes, the first real customer.
Whole thing, whole Gulf was ruled by the British. You know, it was called the British Political Agency. Everything was British. Only 1948 and everything started to change. At that time, the main thing was made in England. Everything made in England means we started right from 100 years ago, only good quality products. At that time, made in England was expensive. Indian market, Chinese and other goods were very cheap, but we always, nearly 100 years ago, kept on high quality products. Till today, we maintain that.
So one interesting bit of history, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, because I got the story from him, was at that time, Basra was the core distribution center for the British Army, for the whole region, for all its activities. So for example, Lawrence of Arabia used to actually come into our shop in Basra. This is a fact, to get supplies before he would go out into the desert, because that's the kind of supplies we would supply, right? Boots, this, that, whatever they needed, before they would go on their adventures. And this was a reality. But who knows the product mix then, right? I think once they moved from Basra to Kuwait, it became a much more branded and established set of things. Whereas before it was just anything, anything you need to go into the desert, really.
After Kuwait, you went to Bahrain.
Bahrain.
And then from Bahrain to the UAE.
No, from Bahrain, we went actually to Jazeera Das.
Which is in Abu Dhabi.
Because there was oil there.
You were following the oil.
Yes, because oil had money. If you have oil, money comes into the country, then people will come. So this is how we followed oil.
I know your father started the business. How were you involved in the business?
Me?
Yes. Were you immediately joining?
I was the youngest in the family. And actually, everybody knows the family. The youngest in the family is always treated the best by the others. Because when my elder brother was married, I was not even born. That was the difference between my elder brother and me. We were 6 brothers and 1 sister.
So big family.
Very big.
Big age
And
difference.
As I said, I was not even born. That photograph I have of my brother only 3 years old, and I was born 1 year after that photograph. And that photograph from 1935, all dressed in suits and everything, in Bahrain. You see? So what's he saying? 105 years. But at that time, 1935, we were all suits and wearing anything because we were already 20 years
in business.
in the business and we're doing very well.
They were already born.
And
he was already
then
born.
I was
into a
born
business family.
when everything was free of
Already
charge.
happening. Yeah.
Free of
So you were
charge.
born at the right time.
No, spoiled.
Spoiled. He never knew the hardship, right?
Yeah.
Anybody saw they were doing the work, everything was on. Kuwait was doing, Bahrain everything was doing on. But they knew that I'm spoiled and I will just go every time I get a chance. I was very good in dancing, very good this, all these things, playing cricket, tennis, this, all things except work.
So you were not working as much.
I was supposed to be working, but no. But I was good in all these things, and I was the youngest in Jashanmal. My name was there, Jashanmal. So I was invited for everything. So my elder brother, he said, no, we have to teach you a lesson. So what they did to me, he said, now you go and work in London as a salesman. Now you just have to go work. You're not working with us. You think you can do anything you want in the Gulf? Go to London.
This
So
is
they
when?
left.
60? Which year was it?
It was 58. I think.
58. So they
58.
sent him to London. This is 1958. Just understand
50,
what the difference is of time and Indian in London at that time, 1958, and there he is trying to learn how to hard sell.
Yeah, because I'm coming from Jashanmal family. So when I went to this office, Hoover, washing machines and all.
we were the agents.
So I went to the office, and I'm Mohan Jashanmal, Then that Englishman who was supposed to be my boss, who was supposed to be put me in training. I walked in. He said, "Oh, I'm Mohan." He said, "No, you wait, get out, sit in the thing. When you're called, you come." I was so shocked. I said, "Who behaves with me like this?" No, that's, because the purpose is that I was spoiled. They wanted to go to somebody else who will teach me a lesson.
Did he have clear instructions from your
Oh,
brother?
yeah. It was
teach you a
all
lesson.
done. Very nicely organized.
So what were you doing in London?
Then I was there, told to go, take this van. I was a very good driver. I had a car license. I had no problem. So take this van, put washing machine and vacuum cleaners inside the van, and go door to door, ring the bell, and go and sell washing machines door to door.
So this was the time of the door-to-door salesman. Now that would never happen. But back then, the best method of sales was literally, forget about, there was no calling. You would literally go to a person's house and force your product on them and see if they wanted to let you in or not, right?
Yeah.
And if it did, maybe you had a chance.
I'll give you the little story on this one, same thing. How do we do that? But see, I'm coming from a good family. So I have no problem speaking English and all. We went to India, all Barnside School, which was all English schools. But that time it was British. So English was no problem. So I went to the have to do. I said, "Oh, I have no problem. I can sell." So I took the vans and all these vans, vacuum cleaned everything. As you sit correctly, ring the bell. And what ring the bell? As soon as the lady opens the door, make sure you put your foot on the door so she can't close it. Huh? And in that short time, you say, "Madam, you don't have a man coming and cleaning your carpet free of charge?" "Oh, you clean my carpet free of charge?" "Yes, I will clean your carpet free of charge." "Oh, come in." So go inside. And this is my job, first job. Go inside the house, and this is 1950, 58, 59. Go inside the house, clean the carpet for them, everything with my vacuum cleaner. Clean the carpet, everything. And when I skip it, and I'll keep that vacuum cleaner in the house. He said, "So you've done all this free of charge?" "Yes, free of charge." "Come and have a cup of tea." I said, "Okay." Have a cup of tea, everything. "Madam, now I'll leave this vacuum cleaner with you. If you're happy with it, I'll come tomorrow and I'll give you a new one and I'll take this back." And 99% the sale was done.
So you showed her
How to
the
clean,
results.
How to clean, show exactly where the thing, I used to take the dust out, put in the dustbin, bring, this is how you do it. Now use it for the whole day, madam.
How many did you sell?
A lot.
A lot.
Now with all of this experience that you learned and working alongside your family in the Jashanmal
No,
business.
it was part of the family. They send me, my family sent me for training.
Yeah, and all of this sure came with challenges.
Of course.
Challenges.
Yeah.
Oh, I was 2-3 times thrown out of the house with a vacuum cleaner. Yes, madam, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All you see, customers, each one reacts differently. But I'm talking about this is 1958, 15. Those days now times have changed also.
What were the difficulties the Jashanmal group faced when they were expanding from country to country? What do you think the obstacle was?
See, obstacle was always to introduce high quality products in that way. All those places were always used to cheap goods. The obstacle was how to introduce high quality. Tell them these are guaranteed products.
And they were more expensive?
Yeah, they were expensive. Even today, if you go to a shop, is more expensive than normally most of the things in the souk market. Of course, there's no more souk now. This whole thing has changed. But it was the souk, the Indian market, and Jashanmal made in England.
Jashmal products have always been premium, except maybe the only time they weren't was in Iraq, when we were just a small dukan. As soon as the jump went to Kuwait, where it wasn't just the British that asked. The British asked the Kuwaiti Emir to invite us to come. So that was a big brand jump. Like as you said earlier in the interview, that was when the brand was really created.
I noticed that when you expanded into Abu Dhabi, it was around maybe 1964, something
64. We
around
opened
that.
64 April 64.
You even remember the month.
Yeah,
as well.
April 64. And I still remember Saeed bin Shakbout opened our shop.
Sheikh Booth had asked and requested him and others in the company that if you're in Das, you must be in Abu Dhabi. Proper.
Because we in Das before Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. But at the same time, there were no customers for Jashanmal in Abu Dhabi. All the customers were in Das. The British forces, the British oil workers, all the guys who needed the goods were there. So there was a long discussion between him and others in the company and Sheikh Booth for a few years until finally an agreement was struck between our management and him and Sheikh Booth. And Saeed bin Sheikh Booth, and this is what went back to the beginning of the question, was responsible for that launch and for that opening of that store.
I just said something in it. The main reason, one of the main reason we could not open in Abu Dhabi. All Bet Shabi hai. Small. Where are we going to have Jashanmal?
Where are the customers?
No, customers, but where are we going to have Jashanmal has reputation? We have to have a proper shop, like supermarkets, this and that, but nothing here. So finally, we said, okay, we'll come on one guarantee to Abu Dhabi. We have no problem. You give us a land in Abu Dhabi for 18 years, no, 15 years. If you give us a land, we will come and build our own building. And we will build our own building, and then in that building, we will have a shop and a house. Then only we'll open a shop here.
And that was your first
That
store.
was the first store.
So they gave us a land for 15 years. We built our own building here. And there was only sea, sand, and Jashanmal and Sheikh Booth's building.
Is this Hamdan Street?
Huh?
La.
Which one? Which one?
He's saying it's Hamdan. This is Liwa. What this is
Liwa.
This is Corniche.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Corniche came afterwards.
Yeah.
It was only
There was no
only
Corniche.
sea, Ramla, and Jashanmal. And only camels used to
There was no
go
port.
in front. Only camels could walk in front. And on the high tide, when the high tide came from the sea, it used to come into our
Right
shop.
into the
Shop also.
Wow.
Then Corniche came in front of our shop.
Tell me about the meeting with Sheikh Zayed.
Sheikh Zayed meeting was wonderful. He used to come once a month to my shop first, because there was no other big building except palace and our shop. So he will come to our shop and he will sit. We'll give him a nice chair, a chair. And then he was very fond of what we call Viewmaster. There's a small film you put inside, and you turn it, you see different pictures.
You call them viewfinders.
So
You had a
it's
little
the view-
clicker and it would go round and round.
Viewfinder. You touch it like there. It's Ravini Aflam. Ravini Aflam. So I'll give him all America, Switzerland, this, and he said, well, inshallah, bi'idhan Allah story. It will happen. When he saw this, America, this and that, and he says, bi'idhan Allah story. You are Sheikh, okay, I believe in you. But me personally, I don't believe. But really? In 66 years, we are only 60 years old. And actually it's happened. I can't believe. In front of my eyes, all these buildings have come up.
And
And it was Sheikh Zayed who said it will happen.
the funniest thing about this story is that Sheikh Zayed used to come into the shop, and then right away he would ask for the viewfinder, And he would ask for very specific things from the viewfinder. He would give him this, the new thing, of some clouds, of some rain or green grass. He didn't want to see those things. He wanted to see the tall buildings of New York or somewhere else. That's what he wanted to see. And that's why they had that conversation.
So once I was praying in the mosque, and after the prayers, somebody, which is normal, somebody, what's your name? So I said, my name is Mohan. I said, Mohan? But Mohan is not a Muslim name. How are you praying with us? So I said, in Arabic, I told him, which is Min Ahsan. Mohan يصلي معك وعبد الله جاسم ما يصلون. والله موهن يصلي أحسن. دين المعاملة مش اللحية ولا قندورة ولا بدلة.
Right.
How you behave. Main thing, the whole thing is Sheikh Zayed, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, Muhammad bin Zayed, all of them. We want people who behave well. It doesn't to do with any religion, any nationality. If you behave well, you're welcome in UAE.
That's actually the brilliance of the UAE. That really is the brilliance of the UAE. First was the ability to make foreigners respect the culture that is here. Foreigners love it so much that they ended up staying. You know how many people in the UAE we have, in Abu Dhabi specifically, we have who are long-term residents of more than 40 years? A lot. And there are all kinds of cultures. The only answer to that is not that they made so much money, because if they made money, they could have left a long time ago, as a lot of people did. The only answer to that question is because they love the place so much.
It's their home.
It's their home. They love the people that much. They love the locals that much. They love the culture that much. They might still identify as Indian, British, French, whatever, wherever they come from, but they all identify as Abu Dhabians.
Now, about the business model behind Jashanmal, because it's very interesting and it's a very complex network of all the different products and categories the brand is in. How do you source the suppliers? What's your ideal strategy to do all of that? Find the suppliers, sell these products, manufacturing, service repair. Just give me an overview of the business model.
See, I'll tell you what. The main thing is we agree. If we put anything in our shop, it has to have Jashanmal guarantee, not Clark's guarantee, Hoover guarantee. No, I will not keep it in the shop. Suppose you buy a washing machine, something goes wrong and cannot be repaired, and this and that. And then you'll say, but Jashanmal, you told me 1 year guarantee and it's already broken. This, not get it done. This, I cannot tell you that this is your fault. This is no. But if it's within the guarantee, I have to get it either repaired and give him free of charge, or I have to give him another one. Why should I spoil my name with my customer?
So, to answer your question, everything's based on relationships.
How much does Jashanmal make today as a group?
Let's put it this way. Good enough.
Mohan, I want to ask about how the business model changed from the beginning of Jashanmal until today. How has the business model changed?
See, biggest thing is competition. We were the only shop 60 years ago. Now, like us, shops have opened like us. Not us, but like us. Because everybody wants to copy something which is good. If Jashanmal is good, why can't I be also like Jashanmal? So this is the normal thing. And we are used to, because we are 100 years old, we are used to this. So whenever things like this happen, but we have, because of our experience, we keep on changing. That means when you find our goods 3 months, 5 months, suddenly those goods are changed and new goods have come. So we keep on changing, which is our actually success.
On what basis do you change?
Basis we change is that we keep an eye, like Tony Jashanmal, others. They travel to Europe, they travel to thing all the time. They're discovering. Go Japan, here, America, discovering what are the new products coming up, which is the new items are coming up. And then they take them for 2 years, 3 years. That we take a guarantee, we will sell in the Gulf, not only in Abu Dhabi. We'll sell in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, wherever Jashanmal is. But it will be in Jashanmal shops only for that period. So every 3-4 months, we have a brand keep on changing. So that time in Jashanmal, you'll find every time new items. Every time you come, you find new items.
At one point when I was younger, I was upset that, because I was very young, I was upset that one of the brands that we were enjoying had decided not to work with us anymore and shift somewhere else. And I was asking my father, but why? Why didn't we do this or do more to stay, keep the brand? It's such a sad thing that it's gone. He's like, no, look at it this way. When we were in Abu Dhabi, when we first started, we were the only shop with all the brands. Whatever brands we supply, we're the full 100% of the brands that were going into town. What else do you think will happen when the city grows? There will be another shop and they will take some brands. There will be another shop, they will take some brands. This is a natural thing. So you shouldn't be crying or worried that you're losing or hemorrhaging brands. You should be instead looking at what other new brands you can supply, because you are bound to lose brands. That's just the natural order of things. So while you try to retain them, yes, you must always be looking for what is new and what you can put into town that's exciting for a growing public. And that became our philosophy.
So instead of worrying about what's going to leave, you're finding new brands to incorporate
Absolutely.
into the Jashanmal.
We are
All the time.
always worried about brands leaving. Yes, absolutely. We want to, some brands we've had for the entire time we've been in existence. Others have only been for 1 or 2 years, and others for maybe 10 years, and unfortunately it's changed, right? And that's just the nature of the business. We strive very hard to keep our brands happy, right? But sometimes things change. A corporate entity, I'll give you an example of Maytag and Hoover, right? Hoover's been with us for a long time. One time, one brand gets bought out by another and would actually want to shift to a different supplier. In this case, we were lucky that Maytag came into our universe, which we never had before, because one bought out the other and now decided to join us. We're not going to complain with a brand like that, right?
And the other thing is that they take a lot of ideas, all these European others who will supply, they take our advice also. Now, 1968, 60, I'm talking about that time, I know more of the time when I was involved. We have a very good shoe cloth called Clark's. Well brand, but wonderful leather boots.
How many years now?
Wait.
How many years? 40 years? 30 years?
Yeah, easily 40 years.
One relationship with one company for 40 years.
Clark's shoes. Now, Clark's shoes had a brand known around the world, and we introduced it. They always take advice from people like us in which country we were. We told them, we have Clark's shoes, but there's no roads here in Abu Dhabi. There's nothing here. We have desert. So we introduced in 1968, 69, called Clark's Desert Boots. 68, huh?
They took the advice from you.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we supplied to the armed forces, I believe, and the
You know,
police for a
that
very
was-
long time.
That was for the biggest sell was who? The army. Army bought all our desert boots because they are the ones who are in the sand most of the time.
It's very interesting because you never hear about the company that's doing the distribution, which is Jashanmal, giving advice to actually brands on what is needed within the region. And that's what you guys did.
Relationships.
And this was a constant win because they are used to supplying in Europe,
They're not here
but
on
they
the
do
foot.
not know.
Mohan, tell me about the competitors of Jashanmal. The competitors of Jashanmal.
Competition.
Yes?
See, competition of Jashanmal, basic in those days, early days, was Grand Store.
In Abu Dhabi, specifically.
I'm talking about Abu Dhabi. And then Spinneys was another shop even before us, but it was no competition because they were food. We had nothing to do with food.
You were not in the food market.
We're not in the food. Sometimes the earlier days,
little bit,
we
yeah.
were agents for Toblerone chocolates, like that. Just But main thing was nothing to do with other food. But these things, yes. So non-food items, anything as such, or bed sheets, this, everything was that, except heavy furniture. Furniture, we never dealt in furniture. But household, from kitchen to this and that, anything, washing, all. So this been, we stuck to the brand. And main thing we stuck to the brand was that we should be able to give them after sale service. And anything goes wrong, we are responsible for repairs.
Is that your unique value proposition?
That's right. And
Absolutely.
that has been our core business value. You buy from Jashanmal, we'll give you Jashanmal guarantee.
So you don't have to worry.
Don't have to worry.
When it comes to the Emirati community, since when you launched in Abu Dhabi, how has the relationship of Jashanmal, its products and services, changed with the Emirati community?
See,
and served them?
Emirati community was very simple, straight. Emirati community was the smallest community when we came here. I'm talking from that
From a
time.
customer base.
There were about 10 to 15% Emiratis only. The rest were all foreigners. And out of that, all foreigners, Indians were the maximum. Then when Pakistan was created, there was no Pakistan before. It was Sindhu Hind. Yeah. Then when Pakistan was created, Pakistanis became number 2. Then came Egyptians and this and that, and then afterwards. But Emiratis were only 10 to 15%.
Of a customer base. Of a customer
But
base.
the
Initially.
best part, what the government did was they said, okay, fine, we are leased, but all of you foreigners, now you have to take local partner. You cannot have business. Otherwise, we were all our own 100% business. Nobody had local partners. Now, local partner is not 25% free to give them. No, local partner has to put money also. Because money had 68, oil came, money started to come. So locals have money. They're not before. So since they had money, he said, okay, now we will invest in Jashanmal. So we worked out a system, 48% will remain with us as Jashanmal
As a family.
entity, and 52% locals. It doesn't have to be one local, take 5 locals.
When it comes to the Jashanmal business and all the years that you've been helping to build this business and expand it, what did you personally sacrifice, Mohan?
See, personal was that we went to areas, like we came to Abu Dhabi, when there was no water to drink. But we knew we will invest in Abu Dhabi. And then we know in the future. But we sacrifice was thinking in the future, yes, these are growing countries. We must invest in this country now. So we invested in the country. It was, you can't say it's a risk, but we calculated properly. Oil started coming, this is it. So 62 oil came in Abu Dhabi. Then 64 we opened. And then we started making only after 68. But we invested in the country, but we knew it's the future. Now look where we are. But we invested in the right time.
You have to understand that this family is a business family, and it was created so by steps. So each step, it was an investment in that area. It wasn't an investment for 1 year or 2 years. Even now, when we make a step into Saudi, it's not a step just to try, right? So each time we make that kind of step, and often when we do so, we become part of that town and eventually part of that community. For example, our Bahraini side
Our
became
part of the
Bahraini,
community.
right? They just became Bahraini, at some point, because they'd been there for so long, in the same way that we've been here for so long and literally grew up with all parts of the development. I mean, he's responsible for the Indian school. He's responsible for the Indian lobby. There's so many things.
When it comes to running
Running.
the company,
Running. Yeah.
how do you balance between your personal life, your family, and working in that business?
See, one thing like I learned myself, I pass this on to my family. What I learned means myself, you may be a Jashanmal, but you remember, I'm sitting here, but who's running the shop now? Who? My staff. I can't do without my staff. My staff are actually bosses. I'm only the doorman. So, greatest respect to the staff. Managers, this and he may be a manager, but no, you go and talk to the staff, not to the manager. The staff will tell you, I have this. Manager will tell me, yes, everything is fine. So it's the people who are with you are the bosses. That's why I say, in the marbab, ana haras albab. I'm the doorman, but I'm quite happy with little kharji, little bit tip you give me. I'm quite happy. So therefore, main thing is how you look after your staff. That is the secret.
When it comes to success, Jashanmal's name is known for that. How do you define success, Mohan?
One line. I've always said to many of my friends, basically, service with a smile, Jashanmal style.
It rhymes.
The whole thing is, everything is, if you can serve somebody, you are successful in life. Don't worry about customer comes and knows that. It's not the point. The point is, when a customer comes, whether he buys or not, the fact that customer came to my shop, welcome him. And if you can give him kahwa, chai also in the shop, no problem. And if he buys something and give him a gift on top of his buying also, no problem. But show him that Jashanmal gives the best services. It's not just selling the goods to you, but looking after the goods, even after the goods have been bought, guaranteed. Jashanmal guarantee. That's the secret of secret.
Mohan, tell me about the medal you're wearing. What's the
Okay.
story behind it?
I'll tell you what. This medal was given to me by the President of India many years ago. What was the medal is about? That they had to select people who have done something for India, outside India. We've been 100 years outside India. That's starting from my father. But even now, I've been here 60 years only in Abu Dhabi, but before that was in Bahrain. That means from 1944 onwards, 40, I think 44 onwards, I've been in Gulf. Otherwise, I was in Karachi. I was born in Karachi. So, but for 1944 onwards, I've been in the Gulf now, nearly about 80 years, 90 years in the Gulf. So, this contribution of ours as an Indian outside, whether it was in Bahrain and this, and I was in all these places, Kuwait and all that. So, suddenly the Indian embassies in Bahrain and this decided that people who are outside India, who has created a good name for India, we should honor them. So I was called in India, and I was called in New Delhi, and the president of India, at that time she was a lady, Pratibha Patel. I was called, and I went to the parliament right there, and the president of India presented me with this medal. And I have the photograph of me getting this medal from the president of India.
Many countries, they give you sort of a knighting, right? Or an order of merit because of the services that you rendered to that country, especially when you live outside of that country. India is the same. So these have been given out to many men and women in business spheres who have enhanced one country's agenda, right? In the UAE, we've always had this great relationship between UAE and India that spanned thousands of years, right? This constant trading relationship. Mohan and our family, the Jashanmals, have been instrumental in helping the Indians forge better alliances with the Emiratis. One example is that our actual house in Abu Dhabi, which was that old building that we said where the Jashanmal was also the default Indian embassy before there was an Indian embassy. So they had a desk and they had a guy stamping away at what he had to do in our house because there was no embassy. So not only our place,
There's no embassy here.
but there are families like us in Dubai, the Sharafs, us, in Bahrain, I'm sure other families, the Kimjis in Oman, who have been instrumental for that dialogue between India and the Khalij for many years. So because of that, he got the award.
That's very interesting how you were not just on the business side, but you were enhancing the relations between India and
Absolutely.
UAE. It's
Absolutely.
incredible, honestly.
The question is, we always promote it. You'll see whether Indians here or whether in America, any Japan, wherever the Indians are, they will never go into war. They will always go into business or engineering, but never into warship.
Mohan,
Guns and all that. That's not our,
we like
we are-
trade.
We are business people and professionally. He may be a wonderful doctor, he may be a wonderful engineer, but never into anything anti.
Mohan, who's your role model?
My role model,
Yes.
of course, there are quite a few, but in all that assessment, my role model, I would say, is Mahatma Gandhi from India.
Why?
Okay. Mahatma Gandhi had one vision that 200 years British were ruling India for 200 years. But I want to show the power, not of guns, but the power of saying that as a human being, I have the right. So what he did, he had only a stick and slippers and plain clothes. And he said, you British all have the guns. I will take back my India with a stick and my shoes, chappal, na'al, and my clothes that I'm wearing. No guns. They put him in jail. Put him in jail. He was in jail. But again, because population of India is so big, there was a revolution. They put Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma means noble. Gandhi was his name. But noble Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, noble man.
Mohan, family businesses are something now part of your experience. What are the advantages and disadvantages of a family business?
Of a family business.
Yeah.
See, like I told about my experience. My father told me, my elder brothers told me, you may be a Jashanmal. Doesn't matter. That doesn't mean automatically you'll join my business. No. You go and prove. What can you do for the business? Not because you're a Jashanmal. So they sent me all the way to London to become a mechanic. So I could become a salesman. Deserve yourself to be in the business. Not because you are named Jashanmal. So each child, now he's a professional artist. But he's a Jashanmal. He's a shareholder in my company. But at the same time, he has his own art. My daughter, she started a famous cafeteria called Cafe Firenze. It's not she lose money. This in business, how many shops we open, how many shops we close. That will happen in business. But at the same time, business is your gain or loss. You don't depend on anybody else. But every time you lose, you learn so that you will not do this again.
And when it comes to Jashanmal's future business,
Your future.
where are you looking at in expanding? Are you looking into expanding to other countries like Saudi or Qatar?
We're definitely expanding to Saudi. We've already started.
We are already in Saudi.
In general, these countries, all countries around here are based on relationships, as I said before. If the relationship you're looking for the right partner is not there, then there's no point in going there. So once that relationship, because Saudi has had good business for a good 30 years, we've just not found the right relationship yet to tap into that business. Now that has happened at the right time, but it's also happened. Jashanmal is also a firm that's not very aggressive in its expansion plans. If you've seen, on 100 years, we're only in so many markets. Others that have been in 50 years have much more markets. Some will be more aggressive, some will be less aggressive.
I think we study every market.
We are
closely.
careful, and we have always been careful. I'm not going to mention names, but I remember in Abu Dhabi when I was younger, talking to business leaders who are good friends of my father. I asked some of them what they thought, and one of them said, your father, he's very foolish. He could have been much further ahead, right? He could have taken more risk and been much further ahead. I remember someone told me that. And I thought to myself, that's true. But look, when the markets go up and the markets go down, we're still there. A lot of those guys who took those risks are not there.
That's a good point.
And we've been there for 100 years. So yes, that man might have a good opinion and might have made a lot of money, but we're still here.
Mohan, what advice do you have for future entrepreneurs? Anyone who wants to enter business, what advice do you have for them?
Mine is, at least I can speak from our side. Mine is that don't be proud. Kubur wadi al-gabr. Pride takes you to the grave. Humble, mutwada. Secret of life is be humble. And every moment is a learning. You learn from people. Doesn't matter if he's a fakir sitting on the ground. Don't feel shy to sit on the ground with him. And let the other people go, this big man now sitting with the ground with the poor man? No, show them that he's a poor man, but he's an insan. He's a human being. So don't have that between. Every human being is born with a value. Otherwise, he could have been an ant, he could have been bird. That's a soul. Ruh Allah is in everything. You may have been any of those, but then if Allah has made you as a human being, means the rest of the creation you have to look after. And especially if you see a human being, poor man or anybody like that, sit with them, discuss it. Don't worry, I'm with you. You may not give him anything, but he sees at least this one human being is talking to me. Humble, mutwada is the secret of life.
I think the interesting thing is that you have to remember this family is an old family. And when my father's generation started learning business, they didn't go to business school. There was no Harvard Business School. And if there was, they certainly didn't have access to it. So their business school was the family business. And that business was about looking after their customers, being on the floor, understanding when things go wrong, and fixing those things. But at the same time, they had to learn all the things entrepreneurs fail to learn today. Entrepreneurs today come out of a business school, most often, have been told to do X, Y, and Z, try to sell in 5-6 years. Frankly, all this rubbish, right? When actually learning a business is learning how to do the delivery yourself, how to make sure the customer is happy, how to make sure you get the money, how to make sure you account for the money, how to make sure you spend the money properly. These are things you have to learn not from a business school, but by the reality of that space and that place that your business is in. And that, I think, is what is crucial for entrepreneurs to understand today. They think it's so simple that the facts that they learned in school are just going to miraculously give them a good business, when in reality, that's not the case. Once they start their business, it is not a 5 to 10 year projection. It is a lifelong projection. Now, if they do really well, maybe they can exit in 5 or 10 years. That's really their business, depending on them and the hard work they put. The other day, I made a delivery to a client of mine, and I'm in a different space in the arts. I'm actually an entrepreneur. That's what I do. And the individual was a very big client. I'm not going to mention who. When I went there, I dropped it off to the house manager. And she asked me, "Oh, you're Jashanmal, how come you're here doing the delivery yourself? First of all, why wouldn't I be here doing the delivery myself? Don't I want to deliver to my client directly, who's an important man? More importantly, aren't I worried that if I gave it to someone else, they might screw up the delivery? So it's better for me to be down there and doing the taping and the delivering and everything, because I'm going to learn every little thing about that client. The client's going to learn everything about me and understand that I mean business when I say I give them my guarantee. And I think that's what our family's been doing for 100 years.
I think what you said, Suhail, and what Mohan mentioned is that family businesses might start with the father or the grandfather, but you have to get your hands dirty. You have to get in the mud. You have to work, and you have to be there at all times in order for you to build or sustain an empire for this long. I'd like to thank you, Mohan, and thank you, Suhail, for joining us on the 100X podcast.
Thank
It
you.
was such a pleasure. Thank you for watching us. Feel free to share your feedback and connect on our platforms. If you know someone with an inspiring story, email us at 100x.abudhabi@gmail.com. Stay tuned for more uplifting business tales.